Hi, I'm Wesley Ewer, and I played Will Marshall on Land of the Lost, and I'm here with it's my dead Sleestak, because, this is just his skull, and you are listening to The Rock and Shock Show. Enjoy.
Hey, what's up, Rock and Shock Nation? Welcome to another edition of the original hard rock, heavy metal, and horror-themed program. I'm your host, Ray Trenton, and I really want to thank you guys for stopping by and checking us out. Remember to visit us on the web at rockandshockshow.com. Again, that's rockandshockshow.com. And if you're not already a member of the Rock and Shock Nation, I just encourage you guys to do that today. Now let's get this program started. And here's one from King Diamond. It's called Halloween, and it really sets the theme for today's program.
You all know that every single night for us up here is goddamn Halloween!
That was King Diamond with Halloween. And it shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone that Halloween is my favorite holiday. I grew up in New Jersey, so during those fall months, there was so much to do. My family would always take a weekend trip to places like New Hope, Peddler's Village, Smithville, and take in all of those fall festivities. So there were so many memories that were created. And then I moved my own family to a little town in South Jersey, and we were surrounded by these really amazing farms where we had our apple cider donuts, took our hay rides, apple picking, pumpkin picking, and then the farms would transform into these haunted farms. So a lot of great memories from the fall, and I'm still looking to build even more memories with all of you guys. So now, as my favorite season is fast approaching, I thought I'd do something a little different on today's program. And this actually came out of a conversation I had with a friend yesterday. He came into my office and we were just talking about like the cult classic things from the 70s and 80s. Yeah, I'm supposed to be working, but I'm talking about the things that I love. And we were talking about Kojak. Kojak came up, and that kind of caused him to remember something that he saw, and he shared it with me. And it was this paranormal story that Kojak, or Telly Savalas, was sharing. And it kind of spurred this idea. You know what? I want to do a show that kind of gets us excited for the fall season, for Halloween. And I want to share some of those stories with you. So I went, checked the internet, found some really cool stories I think you guys will enjoy. And I'm going to start the program off with the Telly Savalas story.
We listen to bizarre and supernatural stories told by friends and strangers, maybe with a little grain of salt. But now and then, someone so prominent we can't ignore comes forward, as in this story. It happened on Long Island, New York, to a very famous man.
Now, what I'm about to tell you is true if you want to hear it.
I do want to hear
You
it.
do want to hear it, then I'll tell you. I was never superstitious.
I'll give you a ride.
But then something happened in my life which scared the hell out of me. And for something like that to happen to me is something that I can't understand to this day. God knows how many years ago. Let me think now. 58, 59. It's a lot of years ago. Now, I just left off a date. Beautiful young girl since left us. And it's about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm going home to Long Island after dropping her off. And as would happen, I ran out of gas. And I go into this White Castle restaurant. I says, "Is there a gas station open?" He says, "Yeah." He says, "You walk through the woods there." He says, "Get on the Grand Central Parkway, take it to the Cross Island Parkway." He says, "And the gas station there open all night." Okay. So I am, start walking through the woods, a wooded area, not the woods, going up, and as I'm doing that, I hear a voice say,
I'll give you a ride.
I turn around, and there's this guy in a Cadillac, and I didn't hear the Cadillac.
You hear the voice, and what do you see?
I see a guy in a white suit, and I hear an effeminate voice say, "I'll give you a lift." I said, "That's very nice." I said, "I'm going to a gas station." We get to the gas station, talking very nice, and I'm fumbling around in my pockets. And he says, "I'll lend you $1." Well, I didn't ask him for money. And the truth is, I was broke. And I said, "Well, look," I says, "I've worked for the State Department, and, well, anyway, give me your name and address, all right? Allow me to mail it to you, because I'm very embarrassed." Anyway, I go there, I get a can, pay for the gas. And we start driving back to my car to put the gas in the car, and I thought that was very nice of him. And then in the clear blue sky, he says, "I know," I'm not going to mention the name, "I know so-and-so." And it's a baseball player. We weren't talking baseball. Oh, I said, "Who's he?" He says, "Well, he's a
Utility infielder for the Boston Red Sox.
Oh, it's so bizarre that he would say it in the spookiest voice I ever heard. He kept driving, get to my car, put the gasoline in. He pushes me to get it started. My car starts. I thank him very much. All in all, it's a very lovely experience to meet someone to help you out like that. No incident whatsoever. Go home, go to work in the morning, get out in the afternoon, this headline in the then Journal American. So-and-so dead. The guy he mentioned in that very spooky voice, age 20-some-odd, young ball player, under very mysterious circumstances. Autopsy and all that stuff. I said, God, what a frightening coincidence. I go home and I says, hey, Ma, isn't that funny? My mother, I think, was part witch. I explained it to her. She says, well, yeah, Telly, strange things that do happen. I said, but. And then I remembered that he gave me a piece of paper for me to send a buck to. I look at it, and there besides the address is a telephone number. Okay. Pick it up and I call the number. Jimmy's Bar. Oh, I said, well, can I speak to Mr. Cullen, please? Oh, Mr. Cullen, just a minute. Woman gets on the phone.
Who's calling?
Hi, may I speak to Mr. Cullen, please?
He's not here.
When do you expect him?
Who is this?
I says, well, I was with Mr. Cullen last night, and he gave me this telephone number, and he said I could reach him here. She says,
Look, you son of a bitch, I don't know what you're talking about. You're talking about my husband, and he's been dead for 2 years.
Anyway, I wouldn't let it go. I did get in touch with the woman again. I did meet her in New York. She came down from Boston. Because, you know, this is a little too much. The clothes I described were the clothes he was buried in. The piece of paper that he gave me signed James Cullen. She brought a letter that he wrote her when he was in the Army. It had Jimmy on that. Outside of that, the signature is identical. There was only one thing that was different. I said, he had a high voice. She said, oh, no, she said. He had a deep voice like yours. Oh. Then it meant he killed himself. This way, right through the voice. Box, whatever. Anyway, this story happened to a guy like me, and as I say, it's been haunting me now close to 40 years.
Now, this next story comes out of Hawaii. It's a Hawaiian Police Department sergeant who's now retired, and he shares one of his paranormal experiences while on duty.
And I could hear footsteps in front of me. What are you guys doing here this late at night? And it was like an eerie feeling. Everything went like dead quiet. My name is Reggie Manoa. I joined the Honolulu Police Department on April 1st, 1971. I recently retired. It's been 50 long years, and in that years I enjoyed my career. I worked in the Wahiawa district, both as a motorman and as a sergeant. And one night comes to mind. While I was patrolling Wailua area, I came across a lady on the roadway. She told me that her two daughters left the house to go play, but they never came home. So she asked if I can go look around and try to find them. So I went down to Thompson Corner, and there's a cattle gate. So I parked my car and I had it face down the roadway with my headlights on, and I left it running. So I walked down the roadway, and I saw somebody up there. Found that it was an old man. So I asked him, "Hey, Tata, you saw any two girls, small girls, playing?" And he just stared at me. You know, at that moment, I kind of felt kind of weird. I kind of got a little cold, and I said, "You know, Tata, you saw the little girls, you know, playing out over here?" and he just turned and then pointed down the roadway. So I went down that side, to search for the girls. So I started walking down the roadway, and I could hear footsteps in front of me. But when I shined my flashlight, there's nothing, but I could hear something. It was almost as if these footsteps was guiding me in the direction I needed to go. And then there was a rustle in the bushes next to me, and I turned, and there was an opening in the bushes. If I wasn't out there looking for the girls, I wouldn't even think about going into this bush. So I knew I had to go. So I walked in. After I went through the California grass, it opened up into a patch of holly cords. So to continue further, I had to kind of weave my way through it. And right in front of me was the structure of a old building, and it was in ruins. There was rock walls, and I didn't even know it existed. And from the looks from the outside, it looked like it could have been an old church or a chapel. So I approached it and I shined my lights on the inside, and it was like an eerie feeling. Everything went like dead quiet. And I heard what I thought was whispering, human whispering. So I knew I had to go and check because, we're looking at two little girls here. So I went to the holly core, and I came to an opening in the holly core. It ended, and I found myself in the middle of a graveyard. And the two little girls was there. So I asked the girls, "What are you guys doing here this late at night?" And the girl said, "Well, we're just playing in my great-grandfather's graveyard." So I got the girls together and I said, "You guys got to come with me." So we walked out through the trail that I came through, and back out into the roadway, and headed out towards my vehicle. And on the way, as we passed where I saw the old man, I wanted to find him and thank him for helping me. And I looked around and shined in the bushes, and he was nowhere to be found. I have no doubt that someone, something, or some entity allowed me to find these girls by taking me down the right path. Maybe it was the great-grandfather that wanted me to find the girls and get them home safely. Until this day, I still feel that I had help.
I shared this origin story because it reminded me of one of my own personal experiences. I do believe that we can have encounters with those who have left this world, departed friends, family members. It's really hard to put into words how this can happen. I believe we are dimensional beings, and when the conditions are right, we can see into that fourth dimension. And even the Bible talks about this. But the story I'm going to share is not a scary one at all. And it happens to involve family members. When I first began dating my wife, Jennifer, her grandparents had already passed away. She never knew her father, so the only grandparent she had was on her mother's side. Her grandfather actually passed away in his early 30s, and the grandmother had to raise the entire family, including Jennifer. So Jennifer and her grandmother had this really special bond, and I believe her grandmother passed away sometime when Jennifer was in high school. So the only knowledge I had of her grandmother was through pictures, and I never saw a picture of her grandfather. So now we're going to fast forward. Jennifer and I are married, and Jennifer's pregnant with our first child, Jacqueline. So we went to bed one night, and I get up about 3 o'clock in the morning. And when I get up, I'm kind of startled. I'm not scared, but I'm startled. And I look over and I see this couple that are standing over my wife and are looking down upon her. And there was such a peace and a calm about them. And I actually saw them smiling. And they were just both, for those few seconds, just looking at her. And there was such a peace and calm. I didn't have enough time to even wake Jennifer up because I believe I was like in this haze. I didn't know if I was dreaming or not. And then they just vanished. So I didn't want to wake Jennifer because, again, she's pretty along in her pregnancy. In fact, the next day she had Jacqueline. So in the morning, Jennifer wakes up, was just calmly telling her, Jen, I think I met your grandparents last night. I saw this couple. And I said, I know from the pictures it was your grandmother. And I described the woman that I saw. And then I began to describe her grandfather. And there was something very, very noticeable about him. He was wearing like this Carhartt blue jean outfit. And I told that to Jennifer. And she said, wow, that's what my grandfather wore in all the pictures. He always wore that type of an outfit. So I thought that was pretty amazing. And like I said, that day, Jennifer had Jacqueline. So I believe they came that night. They knew she was going to have the baby, and they just wanted to see her, and they saw her together. So it was a pretty incredible moment, and I know it to be true. I don't think it was a dream. It's I described too much. That really showed it was her grandfather. Anyway, just wanted to share that with you guys. No Rock and Shock show would be complete without a scary story from someone in the metal community. And this next video is from Black Sabbath. How appropriate is that?
I was getting into, not practicing, but reading a lot of spiritualism and black magic and white magic and all that kind of stuff, and which a lot of people were doing at the time. It was like the post-hippie generation kind of thing, so all the peace and love was going out the window. And spiritualism and meditation, all that was coming in, so I was interested in that. And somebody gave Ozzy this old 16th century book of black magic, and it was all written in, I think it was Latin. And he brought it round to my flat because he knew that I was interested in books and magic and all that kind of thing. And I just got this really weird vibe off it. And I put it in this cupboard in the apartment that I was living in. And that night I just woke up suddenly and there was just this black shape at the bottom of my bed.
What is this that stands before me? Figure in black, which points at me.
And it just vanished into thin air as I was staring at it. And I just had the thought, it's got to have something to do with this book that Ozzy brought round for me, and I leapt out of bed, rushed to the cupboard to throw this book out, and the book was gone. And the next day I told Ozzy about it, and about 3 days after that we came up with our first song, Black Sabbath, and Ozzy just related my experience in the lyrics.
We've always, within the band, said there is a fifth member, a mystical member, yeah. We've always said there's something looking over us.
I don't know what it is, the invisible, I don't know what, binding that keeps us together.
And the only way that I can describe that, probably in its best, the best way for me is that when we were playing our first songs together, and especially our first the first 3 albums, for instance, we would literally show up in a room, and it was almost as if the songs were already written.
When we first wrote this sort of music, we didn't even know what we were doing, and we went, oh God, we like this, it's strange, but we like it. Because we went from playing blues to this suddenly writing, Wicked World and Black Sabbath were the first 2 numbers we wrote, and now, Black Sabbath, is quite an unusual song.
That's why I like to call Black Sabbath a phenomenon rather than a band. Although it is a rock and roll band, there's a phenomena involved there where that stuff just comes from somewhere, and it just so happened that we happen to be the ones that it came to, or whatever.
I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I would love to do more programs like this, so I encourage you to share with me your scary stories, your paranormal encounters. Send me an email, a video, and audio, and maybe we can include it on another program down the road. But again, I like to do programs like this to get us ready for the fall and the Halloween season. I'm going to share one more story with you. I've had quite a few scary stories throughout my lifetime, but this one was when I was living in Pemberton, and I was going to visit my friend Matt and his brother, and I was sleeping over at their house. They had like this older rancher, and they used to always tell me about Mrs. Hess, and I didn't believe them. You know, they're telling all these stories of what she would do, and she was more of a playful kind of ghost, and she would turn the TV off or turn the stereo up. So I go over there, and Matt's mom was getting ready for work. She was a nurse, and she would work overnights. So I was talking to her, and I'm like, you know, Matt keeps on telling me about Mrs. Hess. She's like, oh, yeah, she's real. You know, I was vacuuming the other day, and she would just turn the vacuum off, and, you know, she's nothing sinister, just she's kind of playful. So I'm thinking now, you know, they're just trying to play a joke on me. So anyway, I'm sitting on the couch, and this is when, you know, cable first came out, and you had like a cable box, and you had to, you know, hit these buttons. And also to turn the TV on, it wasn't with a remote. You had to actually turn it on. So he's in the shower, and I'm sitting on this couch, and all of a sudden the channels are just switching. And I'm yelling at Matt. I'm like, he's in the shower. I'm like, yo, dude, what are you doing? So when he gets done, he comes out. He's like, what are you yelling for? And I'm like, dude, this TV keeps on changing channels, and then it turned itself off. He's like, I'm telling you, it's Mrs. Hess. So I'm like, you got to be doing something. So anyway, we go to sleep, and again, this house is a rancher, and it has a basement. So we go into the basement, and there's like a little room with a couch where I was going to sleep, and then he's sleeping in the next room. And now it's pitch dark. I mean, you can't see anything, but I'm seeing this shadowy figure walk by me. So I yell out to him. I'm like, dude, what is going on? Are you like walking by me or something? And I can hear him from the bedroom, so I know obviously it's not him. And he's like, I'm telling you, it's Mrs. Hess. Just get used to it. So again, share with me your encounters. I would love to put them on the program. All right, guys, remember, stay metal, stay horror, and I'll see you soon.
This concludes our broadcast day.